welcome back to Taxationist Stuff Fest 2020, everyone. I'm your host, Ray, and I'm about to welcome Mikey Wong to the show as our final speaker for this evening. Everyone is asking, and what's going on in Hong Kong? Why are people protesting? Luckily, we have Mikey on the ground. He is a teacher, a singer, a fitness coach based in Hong Kong. He has been reporting live for Being Libertarian. Luckily, he has both Cantonese and English under his belt, so he can understand the locals quite well. And he's here to give you his firsthand insight as to what's going on in Hong Kong. Let's welcome Mikey to the show.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Dr. Dre.
Hello. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. I'm guessing that people are expecting me to speak in a full-on Cantonese accent, so maybe I'll try that. Confucius say you go to jail, you bad boy. Okay lah.
Oh boy. You're going to get letters.
Oh well. So I'm glad to be here. It's early in the morning here, 9 o'clock. Hope you guys are doing well. It's probably late at where you guys are. Is that
It's
correct?
it's 8 p.m. here where I am.
8 p.m. here. We're and for most of the listener, I'm guessing they're from the East Coast.
We've got actually, people were sounding off this morning when we got on. We had people from Kenya, Uganda, Iraq. It was amazing. But
Wow.
yeah.
And someone I'm just seeing in the comment there, someone wrote blame Canada. So it's probably someone who knows me quite well, because someone who's been following my channel and knows that I am a Canadian as you can get. You do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, grew up in Canada, born Hong Kong. So my official religion is the Vancouver Canucks.
Gotcha.
Hockey.
I got it. I've recently got into a lot of Canadian comedy, so I
Hmm.
get a lot of the references now.
It's okay. We're not a real country anyway.
I'm sorry, that's
Okay.
my cat screaming in the background, if you guys can
It's
hear
okay,
that.
no worries. So I'm guessing a lot of people are really curious into what's going on in Hong Kong. What the heck is happening? It almost felt like all of a sudden, boom, that just hit us right in our face. Hong Kong has been, well, let's just say in their history, been one of the freest country in the world. Well, not countries, cities in the world, in terms of both economic and also personal freedom. Top five in both personal and economic freedom for, well, throughout our histories until this year, which is kind of crazy and scary as well. And I'm seeing that a lot of people are also wondering what the heck, why are they, what's going on, and they're pretty scared. People are thinking, especially in the US, they're thinking, how would that affect us, right? The considering the fact that we have so much freedom, we have so much going on in here, and the thing is, if something like this can happen in Hong Kong, for example, it can possibly happen back home in Canada or especially the US as well. And I've actually created a PowerPoint presentation for you guys so you guys can actually see first, well, not firsthand, but as close to what you can see, or what I can see in Hong Kong. Is that okay?
That'd be great.
Yeah, just give me 1 second. I'm gonna share my PowerPoint slide presentation here. You know you're Canadian when? Okay, can you see? Oops, what's going on? I'm not sure what I'm doing in here. I'm not that tech savvy, even though I'm Asian or supposed to be Asian. Can you see my PowerPoint?
uh, I think here it comes. I think it's working. There we go. Yep.
Oh, it's working. Okay, good. So I can't see your face right. I'm going full screen,
Go
so
for
you
it.
can see this, right? So it's gonna give you a little background who I am. I am one of the admin for Being Libertarian Hong Kong, and I'm honored that 2 years ago, Being Libertarian Canada, they had invited me to be one of the admins. That was Brandon Kirby. He's one of the hosts for this event right now, and I'm also honored that I'm actually a little surprised that uh, Ju- uh, Killian Hobbs from Being Libertarians also in this festival as well. So thank you so much for inviting us. So I'm gonna start. Oops, what the heck's going on? Ah, there you go. Okay, I'm gonna start off with a quote from Hayek. Emergencies have always been the pretext on which safeguards of individual liberty have been eroded. Hayek. I'm sorry. That's the wrong Hayek. Let me try that again. In the new movie, Fools Rush In, it's a romantic comedy. The girl I play in that is very warm and very sweet. Hayek. Okay, I got those two mixed up. I'm sorry. All right, so right back into business there. So Free Hong Kong Revolution, our time. That is the slogan for this whole protest. In Cantonese, they say "Gong Phục Hong Kong, 時代革命." It's
Okay.
a rough translation.
And I'm sorry, what is it again? What's the English translation?
Uh, Free Hong Kong Revolution now,
Okay.
or
So how
Revolution
did
of our
this all
time.
kick off? Is that how you, wait, I'm sorry, is that how you're what you're about to tell us?
So this whole protest is actually started off with a murder of the girl. You can see that cute couple. Unfortunately, It happened in Taiwan, of all places. The murder back in 2018. I'll go over a little bit, a very very quick little recap into what happened here. So the murder that took place in Taiwan. The couple went to Taiwan for vacation. The boyfriend Chan Tong Kai decided to murder his pregnant girlfriend Amber for cheating. So he returned to Hong Kong alone and he was arrested. Not for murder though. He was arrested for money laundering because he was using her money and her credit cards and bank card to buy a whole bunch of stuff. They discover her body a couple of days later in Taiwan, and he confessed to the whole thing. And in response, Carrie Lam amended the extradition bill. There is no extradition bill between Taiwan and Hong Kong. So officially speaking, this is what she did. She proposed an amendment to the extradition bill, allowing criminals to be extradited to China as a response. But we all know what the Chinese government and the Hong Kong government think. Taiwan is a part of China. That's what they think. And officially, that's what they said too in their own constitution, and also vice versa. So people in Hong Kong actually sees this as an infringement of China into their basic law. And that is a whole issue now. The incarceration rate in China, you're talking about close to 99%, which is kind of scary. And it's a one party system, so everything must please the party. And the worst thing about this is that this party here, they don't serve beer. So how is it a party?
That's a shitty party. Hey, Mikey, we're still on the very first slide, just so you know.
Oh, I'm
Um,
sorry.
that's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I think I may have to slow down a bit because I need to. Oh, there we go. I can see now what's going on now. Because I can't see what you're seeing. I'm sorry about
Okay.
that.
We're on Carrie Lamb's extradition bill slide.
Okay, sure. I'm gonna slow it down a bit so you guys can see what I'm seeing. All right. So can you see the next bill now? So next slide. Sorry.
Uh, we're on Carrie Lamb's extradition bill still.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I had no idea this has happened. And you know you're Canadian when you apologize too much.
So if you do view show, and then share screen, it should work better for you. That's what I'm
View
being told.
show. Okay. Let's see. Let me take a look. Oops. Wrong button. Wrong button. I'm very bad with computer. Where is view show?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Yeah, never used this program before.
That's
So
not
I
my
guess I
area.
should just continue for now. Sorry about
Sure.
that.
That's okay.
All right. So the five demands. Now the other slogan is the five demand, not one less. Five demand, not one less. Okay, I'm gonna be very. Okay, can you see the first demand here?
Nope, it hasn't
Not
switched
yet.
slides yet.
So slow. Just like any government program
That's right. Oh,
or
it's
government
top
response.
right. Okay.
Okay. So is it loading now?
No. Looking maybe in the top right for that view show button. I don't know.
Tap
Oh,
right.
here
Let's
we go.
do.
5 demands.
Oh, wow. It's really that slow. Wow. Wow. No wonder most of your presenter didn't use PowerPoint.
Right?
Yeah, I just realized it now. All right, then I'll just don't use the PowerPoint if that's okay.
Whatever you want to do. It's got the first one up there.
Okay, I'm
Or
gonna be
it's gone
very
now.
quick. It's gone now. Yeah, I just removed it. So the five demand, the first one is to withdraw the extradition bill immediately. That one was met last year after months of protests, riots, and destruction. Ouch and yikes. It was really chaotic. Then the second is an independent inquiry into the alleged police brutality and conduct. Unfortunately, this is the most unfortunate thing. Carrie Lam refused to have an independent inquiry, but she did hire about five or six independent panel from different countries to review the whole situation. And within a week, all five of them quit, saying that IPCC has no real power. Yikes. So the next thing is the retraction of the classification of the protesters as rioters, and then amnesty for the arrested protesters, and finally, universal suffrage for both the Legislative Council and the Chief Executive. Right now, the whole protest had already it's already no longer about the extradition bill. It's really about universal suffrage and the whole Legislative Council and the Chief Executive. We have the universal suffrage for the Legislative Council for each of the seats, but not for the Chief Executive. The Chief Executive is selected within a small community, a small committee, and so on. And there are two different camps right now in Hong Kong. The two main camps are the pro-democracy camp or the pro-Beijing camp. And the pro-Beijing camp are known as the Blue Ribbon, and the pro-democracy camp are known as the Yellow Ribbon. The libertarians in Hong Kong that's living in Hong Kong right now are very divided between both camps. We have the pro-democracy camp and also pro-Beijing camp, surprisingly, because the pro-Beijing camp, a lot of them are from the U.S. or Canada, from overseas. They came from overseas, and they are not happy to see the destruction and all the riots going on. We're talking about, well, we will go over that a little bit more in the coming slides. In a sec, because I'm actually looking at my slides.
No problem.
This situation in here is actually quite split and quite divided, but majority of the people are on the yellow side, are on the pro-democracy side. All right, so let me go on a little bit more. So the protest going on, it's too bad that you cannot see the slides or the my slide. So we have been seeing a lot of we're talking about a million people protests, 2 million protests last year. And right now, since the pandemic been hitting us, we had seen a lot of the smaller pockets of protests, riots in all 18 districts for different reasons. For example, demanding to close the border, demanding for different things like Carrie Lam to resign, and also stop the police, what they call the police brutality. So a lot of situation in here. It's quite clear. Like I say, it's there is no centralization. That's what I really want to say. When it comes to the protest, there's no central leader. So even if Carrie Lam want to talk to someone, she has no idea who she can talk to. Nobody in Beijing side know who they can talk to. That is the other unfortunate thing. So politically reason wise, it's all quite chaotic. Now we also seen that medics, social worker who are working on front line being stopped, being shot at by the police, beanbag rounds, foam rounds, rubber bullet, pepper rounds, you name it. Reporters, some reporter have been shot like from head to toe. One particular reporter from Indonesia had been shot right in the eye, so she is permanently blind now in the right, in the right eye as a result. What happened that day is that the police were just leaving the footbridge, where a lot of reporters just gathering there. Then all of a sudden, one police officer came right back up, fired his weapon, and it hit the reporter right in the eye, and they left.
Wow.
That's the situation here. But there is one slide I have to show you because it's hit me right close to home. Because I am living in Yunlong district, which is where this event takes place, or took place, and that was July 21st incident. We caught the Yunlong July 21st terror attack, where I have actually a video as well, but I don't know how well it will show. So there will be some pictures for you guys to see.
Okay.
So can you see this?
Let's give it a minute or
I'll
two
give
to
it a minute
load.
to you. Yeah, if there's
Yeah.
any question for anybody from here, yeah, let me
Um,
know when you're seeing it.
no problem. Um, we've got Mikey's Facebook URL scrolling there on the bottom. If anybody wants to look him up and his millions of videos there, while we wait for this to load. Hi, Myra.
Mhm.
Let's see here. Who else is in here? So I am not able to see a whole bunch right now from my screen, but I know that we've had a few steady viewers
Mhm.
off and on all day. It's been a long day of speakers here.
Yes, I understand that you've been on since 10 o'clock my time, so it's already 11 hours.
Yeah. I got some breaks in there, though.
Okay, that's good. Like I was at the opening ceremony, I saw my buddy Brandon, I saw Kate, I saw many I saw Dan, and after that, listen to my buddy Thomas, and then went to bed.
Oh, wow.
Okay,
That's like a whole new day for you. Yeah, it's still not loaded up.
it's still not loaded up. Okay, wow, that's not very good. So I guess
Oh,
I'm not
there it
gonna
is.
play.
Never
Oh,
mind.
there it
There it
is.
is.
Okay, I think this is better if I don't go full screen. So this is on the platform now. This is what happened on the platform on Yunlong Station at the platform. Why am I speaking in a British accent for some reason? Okay,
I didn't even notice.
platform. I'm spending too much time with my best friend in Hong Kong. Right. So all of these men there, all of these men in white, they are armed with clubs, sticks, lead pipes, and so on. So it was pretty much out of nowhere for most of the residents. But for people who are living in Yunlong, they knew that someone's cooking up. They knew someone's cooking up, especially from Yunlong City or someone with the triad connection or or a lot of the what they call the blue ribbon side. They know about this beforehand. So it was well organized. There were about 300 of them. They were gathering in Yunlong as a counter protest. but they're armed with clubs and sticks the whole day. Some of them have some kind of hard hat. The police did not stop them. The police were not there. There were actually two separate attacks on that day. So the first attack, about 200 people or 100 people showed up and just decided to had caused some small minor attack. And then the second attack was that were about 300 people, all full force. They all gathered inside the station. They went up to the station and started like attacking people. That's where you also saw the media were there. There was a legislator, elected official. As soon as he heard what happened, he took the train there from his district to see what's going on. This can you see this bloody man right there on my screen?
Yes.
Okay, he is a former reporter from TVB, one of the TV stations in Hong Kong. He was literally bloody from head to toe. On that day, pretty much anybody who were there, happened to be there, were attacked. It doesn't matter if they were protesters coming home. It did not matter if they were resident living at Yoho Town Mall, just upstairs in the mall, or they're just getting off work. It did not matter. So this is the picture of Lam Chia Ting in the right. He was hit in the face and also he was forced to defend himself. On the left, oh, can you see the picture? Sorry about that.
Yes, I can see
Okay,
both.
good. Okay, good. So it's a lot more faster if I don't go full screen. On the left, it's Kevin. Don't know the guy, but his story is that he was a chef working at the mall attached to the Yunlong station. He was also forced to defend himself. He just got off work for no apparent reason, and then he had no idea what's going on. He saw all the men in white with clubs and sticks. And next thing he knew, he was forced to defend himself. He was surrounded by 5 or 6 different guys with clubs and sticks. He spent a whole week in a hospital. And to insult to injury now, you can see the slide, right?
Yes.
Right. On the street level, below the station, police were there, having a little chit chat with the man in white. We call them the triad member. You can see one of the men in white, or two of them, they are armed with clubs. And the two police officers, they have shields, they had different kind of weapons with them as well. Police pretty much disappear from the public on that day on both attack that night. But they were seen on the street level just spending time with the attackers. More insult to injuries. IPCC, Independent Police Commission, I forgot the full name for it, claimed that there was no collusion between the police and the white shirted triads. That was reported yesterday. The entire town in Yunnan are pissed, mad yesterday. I'm not on either side. I'm not on the yellow side and I'm not on the blue side. I'm on the neutral side because I actually hated both sides so much as a school teacher here that they cause so much problem in here. But I am pissed as well. So many people are pissed. A lot of my relatives and friends, they're on the blue side. They are also pissed about this because it's quite obvious something's going on. That the entire attack took place for over 40 minutes, especially the second attack, no police officers showed up. Nothing happened. Some I even heard that some old ladies, old women and old folks, children were also attacked as well. They just hit them. A pregnant lady was also knocked down unconscious that day. She did not have a miscarriage, so that was pretty good. Um, More insult to injury. Legislature Yulis Ho, he was on site, on a street level, just congratulating, shaking hands with the white shirted attackers. And by the way, he's a lawyer by trade. Yun Long is his district, or at least was, because he lost the last election. He's no longer a legislator. That's more insult to injury. So there he is again. And then it's the other attack, it's the Prince Edward attack. This one is even more severe because it's not conducted by a triad member. There were also two different attacks, and you see it in the video in here. So the background, and everybody knows this in Hong Kong, is that the police stormed into the station. They pretty much attacked anybody on site. Locked down the station, did not allow any paramedic, reporter to be on site for the full hour. Kicked everybody out. My pianist at the time, she just happened to be at Prince Edward. She she was at the train before the train that happened. So you will see a lot of you see a couple of videos in what's going on. So the background is that what happened. What people did not see is that reported there were a lot of protesters. They had a disagreement with other passengers. They assaulted them too. So see if I can go to the video. So I'm gonna go to the first video. You can see the police conduct.
Are they breaking the windows? Is that what's happening?
I'll go to your comment shortly, so I cannot hear
Okay.
you.
That's brutal.
Okay. So sorry, what was the question, Dr. Dre?
So it looked like after the police entered the station and attacked whoever they could that was outside the train, it looked like they were putting something on the windows to break or remove them. Is that what was happening so that they could get in?
No, those are pepper spray. The
Oh
door
my
was already
God.
open, so they're pepper spraying pretty much anybody inside the train.
Yeah, I saw a guy with two little kids, or the person had a
There
mask
are
on,
two.
but
There are two women. Yeah, there are two
oh my
women.
God.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, and that is the image that everybody saw in Hong Kong. That's exactly what happened. Now, they were responding. The reality is that they're also responding to an attack by the protesters. A lot of protesters, they got in, they destroyed a couple of things inside the station at the platform. So you can see this next video now that a lot of people did not know about. Take a look.
Okay.
Started off with an altercation between uh, protesters and passengers. Fire extinguisher used inside the on the train. See that those are protesters. They were attacking the train and people on the train as well. So one woman was pissed, was angry, had a little altercation.
Ooh.
And you also see that the behind women there's a glass window a glass door, a panel glass. That's plexiglass that's broken as well. This is something that people did not see. A lot of people did not see. My role in being libertarian is not to be biased onto either side. It's to show the whole truth into what's going on, what happened. Not just the chaotic, but because I know that CNN and the world is quite biased on one side, but the reality is both sides. We should always look into both sides into what happened and the wrong that's been conducted by both sides. The world like to sympathize with the protesters, and I understand why and understand what's going on. But the reality is that both sides are not doing exactly what they're or doing the right thing. Both sides are causing a lot of damages, and you can see that. And that's only a small taste into what happened into Hong Kong. Small taste into what's going on. A lot of people they were assaulted by the protesters as well. Businesses they were sabotaged, damaged, vandalized. I'm gonna go to the next slide a bit. So this is called the university sieges. This is on both two of the universities. That's Poly U and the Chinese University in Hong Kong. Yeah, I have their Chinese name on here. You can see this image, right?
Yes. Lots of smoke.
Those are tear gas and smoke grenades. The what happened is the protester they made a terrible strategic mistake. They locked themselves in different universities, barricaded themselves, thinking that it would be a good fortress. And the police went in, fired tear gas, tear gas, and tear gas. What happened was that they were also making different kind of explosive device, petrol bombs, and weapons inside those universities. So that's what happened there. And the police were responding to those too. So I'm not sure if you can see this. This is from The Guardian.
Yep.
Okay. This is the image from Poly U, the footbridge to Poly U. The protesters shooting themselves with umbrella while the police are using water cannon with blue dye and tear gas inside, mixed into the water. This is inside Poly U. Okay, this is from The Guardian. Thank you, Guardian, on that. So you can see that is just the siege on Poly U. I actually spent quite a bit of time inside Poly U in the past because my ex-girlfriend used to work there. So it's hit pretty hard for the both of us. Even after we broke up and she saw all the images, she was quite heartbroken about that. And we're still in communication.
That's got to be rough for everybody over there.
It's really rough for everybody, and that's right in the heart of Hong Kong. The biggest and worst tactical mistake, and I say this again, is that they locked themselves inside the university, thinking that that is something that would keep them safe. The reality is cut them off because they had no supply line coming in, where the police can always bring reinforcement. Luckily for the protesters inside the universities, is the fact that they had a lot of public support. We were talking about up to 80% to 90% public support for them. So people found a way. They snuck in there, bring them food, or try to find ways to sneak them out. Some protesters snuck out by crawling in a sewer. It was a very desperate 2 week siege. You can see that this is from the Hong Kong University. It was literally on fire. The city's on fire. And because it is so close to where I am, we could see smoke, we can see the fire, we can see the flame from where I am, and from my studio too. From wherever I was teaching at, I can see the flame just from across the harbor. It was extreme. The situation was extreme. They had to close down a highway because the university, Hong Kong Chinese University, is literally right beside the highway. They closed down that station and the highway. But the protesters, and I mentioned it, they're not angels themselves. So this is exactly why the libertarians living in Hong Kong it's split. Where we have a lot of I have a lot of friends on the yellow side and a lot of friends on the blue side. So we've seen a man being punched in the face just because he had a disagreement with the protesters. I couldn't find the footage where the old lady was assaulted because she had a disagreement with one of the protesters at Causeway Bay. We saw fights like these. This is the local. They had enough. Saw the locals because their livelihood, their businesses were affected. So they went down to the street, grabbed their clubs, sticks on Hong Kong Island at North Point, and started attacking the protesters. But it was no use. They were outnumbered and surrounded. And the protester fought back with umbrellas. That was their weapon of choice, because that's all they can get. And we also saw this man. This is right by my music studio in Mao had a little disagreement with another protester. They were arguing. Next thing you knew, they spray him with the flammable liquid and then lit the guy on fire. That's something you will not see in a lot of news network in overseas, and we see those every time. The reality is that a lot of people, yes, still support the movement, but they're also disgusted with some of those random acts of violence. But they supported it because they are very angry with what's going on with the Hong Kong government, with the Legislative Council, and they're very angry with the Chinese authorities, with Beijing, because there was supposed to be one country, two system for 50 years, where Beijing, under the agreement with the leader at the time, the that was Tang Xiao, not that, yeah, that was Tang Xiaoping, to respect the basic law in Hong Kong, to respect what's going on in Hong Kong. And Tang Xiaoping famously said that you can have 50 years if you need another 50 years, have another 50 years. And Hong Kong people felt that they were not respected. The agreement was broken. So that's why they were protesting. And then this is another slogan. That's not the official slogan behind this man right here. He's actually lighting up a bank beside him. Not sure where that is. It's burn with us. If we burn, then you burn with us. That's how angry people are in Hong Kong. A lot of people in the US, a lot of the people, they're thinking that, oh, we would like to trade any of the Karens or Democrats with the protesters in Hong Kong. Now, after seeing what I'm seeing in Hong Kong, I'm not sure if that is a wise decision. I know they're passionate. I know that they're passionate about what they're doing. But this is not something that I can condone because they initiate a lot of force, lots of attack into bystander, into businesses. Simply, they had a disagreement. I cannot condone to that myself.
Right.
But the police themselves had not been doing a good job. So, and this is the next title: is police false flag. This is a police officer dressed up as a protesters. This is already admitted by the police commission. She was also throwing petrol bombs. You saw that she had a sidearm. In Hong Kong, we don't have the right to bear arms. The British came, they confiscated all the firearms because they believe that the British can protect you. Because, well, the real reason is that they will not overthrow the British at the time. The British, fortunately, have practiced laissez-faire and free market and freedom of speech so much and so well that people in Hong Kong actually love it so much. And that's what they're fighting for. And then here's another one. This is from Shanghai Station. This man right here is a police officer. It is confirmed by the police commission as well. The station was already in a lockdown. No one could get in, no one can get out. So some people saw what happened, took videos and pictures. And next morning, the station was completely vandalized. They had to close down the station. And we also see police officers dressed up as protesters. These are actually police officers. They're arresting protesters. Some of them we have seen them. We even question them. I would say if that's them, if the police officer dress up as protesters and set the high court on fire, because we saw those men in black with some kind of armband to identify themselves. Usually they'll wear some kind of armband or something to identify themselves so they will not be mistakenly arrested by riot police. You see that many of them right here, these three men, they are actually police officers. This is all confirmed by the police commission at the time. So that's the situation. Now, because of all the protests, it actually inspired quite a bit of arts and culture. Hopefully, you can see this. This man, can you see him?
Yes.
Yeah. This is Hong Kong. No, not quite Sparta, but you get the idea. So the idea is that they are very much against communism. And we also see walls like these. Those are Lenin wall. And guess what? This is a big giant sticker that's stuck right to the wall. Someone designed it, painted it, and stick it right to the wall. I've seen sticker like these using sticky notes. Someone will actually use sticky notes to arrange a pattern like this. And we also remember this whole thing where people were gathering with their cell phones and they were forming a human line. We're talking about kilometers long human line to protest. This is right on top of the Lion Rock overseeing Kowloon site in Hong Kong. And the sculpture. The sculpture has already been taken down. I heard it's been destroyed already. They call this the Statue of Liberty for Hong Kong. Okay, so this is a little bit about Hong Kong right now. Oh, hello there, Kate. Didn't
Hey
see you there
Mikey,
until now.
yeah, they brought me up because I've been watching your presentation and seeing the videos and the images, and I have just been uh, just taken aback. I know a
Yeah.
lot of people are also just taken aback by seeing some of these images that we don't see, in our media, even though they're reporting on some, but my God, like you've definitely got a different viewpoint than what we have gotten over here. But I've had just so many questions watching this. Here the media has portrayed the protesters as liberty fighters, and as libertarians, we talk about fighting liberty, but we also talk about peace and we talk about the non-aggression principle. And, is this something that is being taught or conveyed over there as well? That yes, sometimes you have to get violent, because I mean we've had the American Revolution, and France had to have a revolution as well, and it got violent.
Hmm.
Um, you know, is there a way to talk to them about the non-aggression principle and liberty being like hand in hand, or is it just too far gone?
I want to say that and I still want to believe that there is a chance that both sides can finally sit down and talk it out. I remember Ron Paul said something about it's best for both sides to talk something like to talk it out as well, if I remember correctly. But it's been a while, so I don't quite remember. But I also believe that it's too far gone now. Especially there's so much allegation about police corruption, the legislation corruption, and now this is all this information in here. It's no, you're not even up to date anymore because there's so much. As I was making this PDF, this whole PowerPoint presentation, what happened is that yesterday and a couple of days, this whole week, all of a sudden a bunch of new stuff just came out. The Legislative Council just did. Like there was a fight last week inside the Legislative Council, and they had to shut down the Legislative Council for 1 whole hour because a fight broke out. Because Starry Chan and several pro-Beijing side, they decided to take the chairman seat, and a lot of people felt that they did not have the right to do that, even though they lost the election, and about it was a landslide. 90% of the seats now belong to the pro-democracy side.
So where do you think Hong Kong goes from here? I mean, like especially with COVID, I don't know how. I mean, being in
Mm-hmm.
China, COVID really affected everything, and of course, people have been asking what has happened with COVID. Has how much has it affected the protests? Where does Hong Kong go from here? Where is that like
Mm-hmm.
leading?
All right, I'm gonna use an American expression. It's going to go south,
Hey,
and I'm
South
gonna
ain't bad. South ain't
south
bad,
ain't
y'all.
bad. All right, I'm gonna really exaggerate this expression here. If we go any further south, we'll be the South Pole.
Oh boy.
That's how bad it is. The economy it's as bad as you can get. We had a soft form of lockdown because of COVID-19. Stores, restaurants, a lot of them closed. Were forced to close down. Uh, Ocean Park, the theme park in Hong Kong, they are in trouble right now. They are probably going to go bankrupt within the month. So one viewer asked, "How's the pandemic affecting the situation?" Disastrific, because Hong Kong, we are an importing and exporting service-based city. We don't really produce that much, except for soy sauce, fish, bread, and maybe some fried rice and sweet and sour pork. That's a joke.
I got that. So, so yeah, basically after any mention of COVID over here, any coverage of the protest dropped off completely. We didn't see or hear another
Hmm.
word about it. But
Yeah.
what I find most interesting is when you were going through the pictures and telling it and explaining what things were, I can't believe that you have so many confirmed that the police confirmed, yep, that was us. We totally did that. Yeah, that was us committing crimes and lighting stuff on fire dressed up as protesters. I cannot believe that they've already come out and admitted that. Normally over here, if and when that happens, it takes a years long process dragging them over glass to get them to admit any wrongdoing.
Are
Yes,
they intentionally instigating to show
they
violence to try to illegitimize the protesters' claim to liberty?
I'm gonna comment a couple of things. First of all, yes, that they are doing that. At the same time, they see this as an illegal gathering or illegal protest. Even though protest is guaranteed under the basic law in Hong Kong, that is the Hong Kong's constitution. But they will still need to quote unquote apply for a permit for that, which is kind of silly if you ask me. And they've been doing that since the colonial time. Now, to say that, now my other comment, my other side is that to claim that the protesters are fighting for liberty, I also do not agree with that statement as well. Because many of them are, of course, instigating so much violence and so on. And they also do not, we also saw that they were attacking people just for disagreement. That is not freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is both sides, they have a disagreement, they talk it through, and then they agree to disagree. That's it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. I mean, as libertarians, we again, non-aggression principle is something we adopt, and we don't want to be the aggressor, but you know, it's a kind of a defending themselves. You know, that's the reason why you have revolutions, and sometimes they get violent, is because sometimes you just
mhm,
have to defend yourself. Is that what has sparked it? Was there a lot of violence from the government to the people, and the protesters were just like, I can't take it anymore, so we're just gonna have to play your game? Because I mean, again, like the French
mhm,
Revolution and the American Revolution was the same thing. We dealt with a whole bunch of violence and we responded in kind, going, look,
yes.
we've sent you these documents. Like, you're not helping us out. We're trying to talk, but you're not doing it. So we're going to speak your language. You know,
Okay.
is that a parallel, or is there something more we're not seeing from the media, reporting on our end?
It's a parallel. I will say that right now with it's a parallel, even though I'm from a neutral side. About several years ago, we had the Occupy movement, and they were shot at as well. And Anonymous Hong Kong and the people, the democracy side for Hong Kong, they promised that they would be back and there would be violence. And in this protest, early on in this protest, what happened is that yes, they were originally a little more peaceful, and then all of a sudden in May and in June, the police decided to shoot at reporters, and they responded with violence. So it is sort of like that. And they took a lot of inspiration from the French Revolution and from the American Revolution as well. Because I'm a Canadian, so our quote unquote independence was a lot more peaceful. We did not have to pick up arms. All we just had to do is just pick up a donut and that's it, or pick up a hockey stick. Oh, we just talked to the Queen and our representative say, hey, we just want to form our own country. We don't want to become a British colony anymore. Okay, sure. There you go. Yeah, will you guys want some Tim Horton coffee with that? Sure. That's how it worked in Canada. But I know that didn't work out that way for you guys.
Yeah, and of course, France is kind of they still remember some of their revolution, but it seems like Americans tend to hold on to ours a lot more than like the French do. And of course, there's other revolutions out there we could speak to, but I mean, those two are some of the biggest ones that worldwide you can kind of talk about.
Mhm.
But I have been on the side of the protesters this whole time, but I knew that I wasn't 100% on board because I knew there was something that there's a lot of puzzle pieces missing.
Yeah.
But yeah, you and I can have a conversation about that later because I know we're running out of time and such. But I definitely have more questions, and I'm going to let Dre take on from here. But you and
Okay,
I can
sure.
hook up later and just chat.
Sure, sounds good. Sounds good.
Thanks,
All
Mikey.
right.
Thanks, Dre.
No problem. No problem.
No problem. Well,
And thank you, Kate.
this is the end of day one of the first Taxation is Theft Fest. Thank you so much for joining us. Mikey, thank you so much for sharing
Yeah.
all of that information and video with us that we don't really get to see. We'll definitely keep up with you going forward because they aren't showing us much over here. So please stay safe and keep us updated
Sure.
as to what's going on the ground over there.
Okay. I just have one final thought for
Sure.
everyone in here. This coming Thursday, I am going to be hosting a event in regards to your health and your immune system. You guys just saw that when you announced me, you also announced that I am a fitness coach as well. So you mind if I do it very quickly?
Sure.
Okay, sure. So I'm gonna go to. So first of all, I just want to say, hey, I have to thank Jack Lloyd and the philosopher for making this picture for me. Taxation, theft, and so on. So, but my little mission statement that I found is to create a healthy movement, a movement for healthy families and individuals so they can live the life that they want as a health coach and a fitness coach. What happened is that I have my family, for example, my uncle, he died from a heart attack at age 56. And heart attack and cardiovascular disease is actually common in my family. My grandfather died at 60. My grandma also died from a heart attack as well, and it's quite common there. So that's actually inspired me to study nutrition and study what's going on there. And my uncle is actually is one of those what you call skinny fat, or at least he was. And my dad is really overweight as well. So that was me just over a year ago. I was about 30 pounds overweight. I looked at myself. I looked disgusting. So the risk of diabetes, obesity is type 2 diabetes, inflammation, cancer, so on. So what I do is that I want to introduce people to live like one of my clients in here, one of my friends in here, to transform from the left to the right as well. So you guys are more than welcome to scan this QR code right here, and I will see you guys next Thursday as well. Okay.
All right, great. Thank you, Mikey. We will see you guys back here in a couple minutes to wrap up with the host panel with Dan.
Okay. Thank you so much for bringing me aboard.
Absolutely. It was so great to meet you. We'll see you
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Mikey.
All right. Ciao for now.